Greetings, fellow film fans. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Mercy, and this is the Funny Pajamas YouTube channel. So, Marvel's Eternals just hit theaters here in India, in Chennai, where I live, and I got a chance to go check out the movie. So, here's my quick spoiler-free review on this movie. But before I go any further, please do smash that like button. Really helps me out. Hit the subscribe button, and of course, don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you're notified every time I post something new. With that down and out of the way, let's get straight down into it. Marvel's Eternals. Now, straight off the bat, I know it was available for screening for many critics prior to its release here in India. So I did see a lot of the critic reviews. Now, I have to say, I was pretty surprised when I saw most of the critics either landed on the left or the right side of the field. And the critic rating isn't very high for this Marvel movie. Also seeing that this is the Marvel movie with the lowest critic rating ever. So I was a little bit worried. Now, this movie has been one of my most anticipated movies for the year that it was supposed to come out in. That was last year. This is being directed by Chloe Zhao. Now, Chloe Zhao is the Best Director winner of the recent Oscar awards. So I did have high hopes. Of course, this movie was originally slated to release before her film Nomadland and before she acquired the prestigious award. So I did have high hopes for this, particularly after she won the awards and with all the rave reviews that most people seem to have. But once I saw that the critic ratings were low, I did have my doubts. Now, straight off the bat, I'm going totally blind into this particular franchise, this particular series, because I have absolutely no idea about what the Eternals are about, what their background, their history in the comics is. This totally new IP for me. So I went into this totally blind. Now, I know a lot of people have given negative reviews, but for me personally, this movie was really good. It wasn't the best Marvel movie, but it also wasn't any of the worst ones. Now, if I were to compare this to Shang-Chi, which going further, you will see these are totally different types of movies tonally. I would place it slightly lower than Shang-Chi, but on the whole, I enjoyed this movie. I don't see what all the fuss is about. I do understand where a lot of people are coming from. But let me get down to what I liked and disliked about this movie. Now, straight off the bat, this is a totally different movie. It is very epic in scope. The cinematography is beautiful, though I think the cinematographer has previously worked on other Marvel movies, but this movie itself is very epic in scope. It spans a large time frame overall, and I thought the way they included all of it in, all the stories, all the mythology, all the background for all these characters was done very well. They managed to fit it in within the time frame, within the time of around about 2.5 hours, 2 hours to 40 minutes or so. I thought they worked it in really well without having to rely too much on exposition and stuff like that. The way they worked it into the story, each of the 10 Eternals their backstory, the way their characters are defined was done really well. And on the whole, I thought each of the 10 Eternals was explored to a good extent, exactly how much I needed and how much was suitable for a movie of this length. Now, first thing about Eternals, the cast is stacked. And I thought each of the characters held their own to a marvelous extent. All of them are built beautifully, fleshed out beautifully, and they are brought to life beautifully by all the varied cast members. Of course, I thought was really well done in this, particularly Brian Tyree Henry and Kumail Nanjiani. They played off each other really well. They brought on the comedic aspect really well. But one standout character for me was Harish Patel, who plays Kumail Nanjiani's character Kingo's valet. And I thought he really did a good job, and he was worked into this really well. I thought on the whole, most of the comedic timing, most of the jokes really landed. I also thought Angelina Jolie playing Thena, an Eternal who is struggling under the weight of 1,000 years of memory, she did a pretty good job. Angelina Jolie is Angelina Jolie. What else can you expect? She was marvelous in the role. I thought each of them did very well. Salma Hayek as Ajak, the Prime Eternal, also played her role very well, though she wasn't seen much. Kit Harington, the character he plays, I have to say, did not really appear much in the movie, though I do believe he's going to be playing a major role in the MCU moving on further ahead. Now, coming to the cons of this movie, I did have a few nitpicks about this movie. Now, before I go further, there were some pretty funny references to DC characters like Superman and Batman, so look out for those. Now, back to the cons that I felt. At times, this movie did seem like it was dragging on. It did seem a bit dull at certain times. That was one of the main things that held it down. It's a very different movie from your average Marvel MCU fare, and I have a feeling that's what's going to hold this down a bit. Since it's so different, you can see Chloe Zhao's vision. She has want something epic, something totally different. You know, she wanted to try out, to experiment. I felt that the fact that this is actually a Marvel movie is going to hinder it, because it is as a movie, solidly, it is good. It's really fun, it's entertaining, it's got everything you need. But as a Marvel movie, it kind of lacks in the Marvel aspect. And I think that the very fact that it has the Marvel label on it is kind of going to hold it down, and it's going to hinder the enjoyment of typical Marvel fans and MCU fans. So basically because of that, and it really saddens me, because if this movie underperforms, Marvel, I fear Marvel is going to go back to its formulaic method of movie making, which is going to be sad. I do want Marvel to experiment, to try out new types of movies, to change the pace every now and then. And I'm afraid that if this movie underperforms, and seeing its current reception, I'm wondering if that will hinder Marvel from wanting to try out new things, from taking risks as such. Like I said, a bit of the I did feel it dragged on at certain times, and that was one of my main nitpicks. On the whole, I thought the cast was pretty strong. The movie was also pretty good. Seeing the reviews, I expected it to be really bad, but I enjoyed it. Really, it was not my favorite Marvel movie, but it wasn't the worst by any means, or by any stretch of the imagination. Now, another gripe I had with this is, because, like I said, this is a Marvel movie that's probably going to hold it down, but some of the attempts they made to link this movie to the Marvel MCU universe as a whole, I thought those felt really forced at certain times. On the whole, it's a really good, solid, fun movie. And if you are a Marvel fan, do go check it out. On a whole, as a movie fan, I think you should check it out. I know I may fall in the minority, in this matter, but I, on the whole, honestly enjoyed this film, and I do hope we get more Eternals. So on the whole, if you were asked me to give me a rate, I am teetering a bit here and there, but I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. I do suggest you go give this movie a shot, give it a go. It's not your typical Marvel fare, but I enjoyed it personally, and I do think there will be many of you out there who will enjoy it. Now, there are 2 post-credit scenes, so stay for those. Particularly one of the post-credit scenes was amazing. Okay, I'm not going to go further into it. Do stay for the 2 post-credit scenes, because they are going to later tie in further into the MCU. So that's all I have. So if before I end this video, let me just put it right out there. If you want to contact me, hit me up on Twitter, simply at Mercy_D. Check out my Instagram at Mercy_D. And don't forget to check out Funny Pajamas Facebook page, simply at Funny Pajamas. Check out my website that's available and open all the time, simply on www.funny-pajamas.com. Pajamas with a Y. That's all I have for you right now. Marvel's Eternals. I enjoyed it personally. I do suggest you give it a go, give it a shot. Hope Marvel does continue to experiment and take risks further on, even though this particular movie may land a little flat. But I personally enjoyed it, so do go check it out. This is all I have for you right now. So this is Mercy, signing out. Bye. Have a good one, everyone.